Next on Worcester News tonight, a church bell with an important history is raising concerns in Paxton. Some are afraid it may come falling down. Plus, helping breast cancer patients look and feel their best. The Women's Image Center is working to do just that. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. Worcester is seeing an increase in voter registration this election season. It could be the result of the fight around a recent Supreme Court appointment or due to more celebrities calling on young people to vote. But the city is also working on an effort to increase participation. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now with more. Brittany?
Olivia, the city has received hundreds of voter registrations in the past few days. The Election Commission says it's the highest numbers they've had since the presidential election. Voter registration numbers are up in Worcester.
Our numbers this year have gone up tremendously. They're kind of in line with what we had in 2016.
Assistant City Clerk Nico Vangelli says it's partially due to the city's efforts. The Election Commission has gotten hundreds of students to register by visiting all 7 high schools.
So far, we've collected about 550 registrations, and a lot of them are, students who are going to be 18 by November 6th. And also students who are going to be 18 next year, but what we're doing is we're taking advantage of pre-registration and we're pre-registering them to vote for the upcoming elections in future.
Another factor increasing registration numbers across the nation is the controversy surrounding the Kavanaugh Supreme Court appointment and a call from Taylor Swift to get out and vote.
Celebrities that we have out there do play an important role in getting people's attention. So by just grabbing their attention, we've seen a massive spike of registrations the last few days.
Kavanaugh's a polarizing figure, literally rushed the process within a week. So I think both sides left there with some sour grapes, and I think that's translating into the November election.
Political analyst Guy Glotis says the nation's divide will lead to a larger turnout this midterm election.
There's a lot of division right now across this nation, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. In my opinion, it's really recharged the electorate. It's got younger people engaged in the political process.
Voter registration ends on October 17th. Vangelli says he hopes the high numbers continue with the voter turnout in November.
Usually the voter registration, it's kind of an indication of how many voters we can expect at the polls on November 6th. But thus far, it looks very promising, and we're just going to hope that the turnout does show up on election day.
The city will be participating in early voting again this year. That will begin on October 22nd. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
And increasing student engagement and political learning is the goal of a workshop held in Worcester Wednesday. Nancy Thomas is the director of the Institute for Democracy and Higher Education at Tufts University. She travels around the U.S. holding workshops to show the importance of young people voting. Wednesday, she stopped by the Idea Lab on Franklin Street to speak with students from colleges around the area. Thomas tells the crowd there are more Americans between the ages of 18 to 29 than there are 65 and older.
We've all heard about the baby boomers and how influential they have been in making public policy for the last 40 years. Well, guess what? They got to move over because it's somebody else's turn, and that means young people.
And Thomas says data shows more young people will head to the polls this year than they did during the 2016 elections. An almost 200-year-old bell needs repair in the town of Paxton. The church had to stop using it because it's damaged, and ringing the bell could make the situation even worse. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now to explain. Chandler?
Olivia, the church recently had a bell expert install a speaker system in their steeple to play hymns. And when he was doing so, he discovered the bell's damage. A winding, tight walk to the steeple at Paxton's First Congregational Church leads to a historical bell. It was made in Paul Revere's foundry and installed in 1831.
It's history. It's so old. It's a part of who the church is. It rings every hour. So everyone in the town hears the bell.
Last month, the church discovered the bell has serious structural problems. Reverend Jane Willen says the bell is tilted and is being damaged every time it rings. It can no longer be rung manually because the wheel which pulls the rope is broken.
It's an absolute historic treasure. And so the idea that we might just let it fall into disrepair is would be a tragedy.
The church says the town owns the bell and is responsible for repairs and maintenance. Whalen is concerned about what could happen if nothing is done.
It could conceivably fall down. It could fall out of the steeple, and that would be horrible. But I think that would be quite a long time coming.
James Stone is the church historian and has been a member for 6 decades. He says the original Paul Revere bell was brought to the town by oxen and has been part of the church's history ever since.
Bell used to be rung when there was a fire in town, and every day at curfew at 9 o'clock, the section of the church would ring the bell. And when anybody died, they would ring the bell for every year of his age.
Paxton's Board of Selectmen chair says they're taking the matter seriously and will add it to the next budget. Whalen says the bell is central to life in Paxton and should be a part of its future.
It's possible now to restore it, but if we wait too long, we won't be able to.
Board of Selectmen Chair Peter Brogan says the town doesn't want to see anything happen to the church's safety and structure. He says the board will have to meet with multiple sources and get estimates on work. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Town leaders in Dudley are looking to voters this fall to come up with an additional $225,000 for a new fire station. Several unforeseen issues have affected construction on the new building. The $6.5 million project to rebuild and expand the town's 58-year-old station has already overrun its budget and is now 7 weeks behind schedule. Taxpayers could be asked to help make up the difference. A town meeting is set for 7 p.m. October 29th at Shepherd High Regional High School. UPS is looking to the town of Grafton for an 800,000 square foot distribution facility. The town says the United Parcel Service facility would overlap into Shrewsbury and could create up to 1,500 jobs and millions in tax revenue. Town leaders say the project is in its early stages and it depends on the company's needs. UPS is expected to vote by the end of 2018 on whether they will buy the land. For 2 decades, the Women's Image Center in Worcester has been working to help women diagnosed with breast cancer. Whether it's before, during, or after treatment, owner Mary A. says they are able to help all patients feel better about themselves. Sarah Roslyn Flaherty joins us now with more. Roslyn?
Olivia, a lot of things are going through a woman's mind when they're diagnosed with breast cancer, and A. says she works hard to ease their minds and make them feel whole again. Mary A.'s goal is to help women feel their best while going through breast cancer treatment. She opened the Women's Image Center in Worcester and Leominster more than 20 years ago.
Just try to make it so that a woman can feel at ease and know it will be okay.
The healthcare boutique makes custom breast prostheses for women who undergo a mastectomy or lumpectomy and provide wigs for patients who lose their hair. With a doctor's recommendation, women can come in before and after surgery to figure out what their best option is.
Women leave here very whole again. It feels like a privilege to work with these amazing women.
The prosthetic fits in a woman's bra. The boutique uses a 3D scanner to make the prosthetic look and feel real, including picking out the right skin color, and a woman can get their prosthetic in about 4 weeks.
We can get very sophisticated with our 3D scanner, which will be 50% lighter and cooler than an off-the-shelf prosthetic, and it's custom made for the woman's own unique surgical site.
For many women going through surgery, it can be a scary time. A-Frame says when they leave the office, they are so grateful to look like themselves again.
My job is very uplifting and positive because every day I see women, they get through their treatment and they go live their life.
Now again, they only have 2 locations, but are coming out with a printed catalog in a few weeks so women can pick what they want. Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
People in Worcester finally had their chance to air their concerns about Kelley Square. Mass DOT holding a workshop Wednesday addressing the safety and deficiencies at the city's most notorious intersection. As our Cam Jandro explains, the department laid out a timeline hoping to get started on the project next year.
Look at Kelley Square during rush hour, and drivers can understand why the state's Department of Transportation is taking public input on a redesign.
Walking, driving, biking, businesses, we want to see what some of those challenges are so we can try to incorporate those in our solutions to make it more efficient.
The intersection will be redesigned as part of the deal to build a AAA baseball stadium nearby. Potential improvement ideas include traffic signals, geometric changes, a roundabout, or even changing the direction of the current streets. John Bouchard is the Deputy Chief Engineer for Project Development at Mass DOT. He says the state had eyes on this project before the city got the paw socks.
Once we started looking collectively at all of the accidents in the area, it kind of bubbled up and said, look, this is something they all work together, and we need to try and solve as many as we can and make it safer for all users.
Wednesday, people shared their thoughts and actually drew out possible solutions on maps of Kelley Square.
You definitely need some type of coordination.
So it's got a bad reputation for being a dangerous intersection, but it's not dangerous, it's congested, and there's a big difference.
Some, like Worcester's Alan Fletcher, see the intersection as one of Worcester's signature features. Fletcher says it works well, but he knows he can't stop the redesign.
What I'm dedicated to is making sure that we come out better after the redesign and not worse.
Mass DOT is hoping to have a completed design by May of next year. They say they have a tight window knowing Boston's AAA affiliate is on its way.
Baseball team's a factor that we're going to be, incorporating into our traffic model, but, we're just trying to get things done as quickly and as efficiently as we can.
Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.